What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 16. Ghost from the Past. Sunday. Day 49. Team JPDE were in Vale to see if they could find anything, or anyone connected to Weather. Alright, everyone's got their task memorized, Jack asked. Yeah, we got the boring part. Evelyn said. Evelyn and I will look for information about Weather's rental on the CCT network, Penny said. While we will beat the streets old school style, David said. And see if maybe there are areas of the city where rentals for students focus, Deku said. Hey, Jack, can't we switch? Please? I'm a bun of action, Evelyn said. No can do. This is a partners only day. Also, you run the risk of distracting David and Ijuku if you get bored, Jack said. Slander. Slander and poppycock, I say, Evelyn said. Oh. So I imagined their sudden bouts of blushing during class whenever you sit beside them, Jack asked. Hey. I'll tell you, Deku's blushes in class are not due to any sexual activity, Evelyn said. So, you admit to distracting them? One more so than the other, Jack said. Evelyn frowned and walked away. David and Evelyn are sexually active. And Ijuku and Evelyn are affectionately active, Penny said. Penny, for the love of us, please don't say stuff like that in public, David and Deku said. Roger that. We'll contact you later. Good luck, Penny said. Penny then followed after Evelyn. Sorry, Jack, I tell her not to do it, David said. Which, knowing her, only makes it worse. It's fine. I doubt you'd go along with it, anyway, Jack said. And definitely not in Professor Goodwich's classes. But she just can't seem to keep her hands to herself, David said. Well, you two are Evelyn's first relationship of this kind. She probably wants to make the most out of it, Jack said. Tell me about it. Which reminds me. Sorry for the future, Deku said. Huh? Why you sorry for the future, Jack asked. Well. Monday night Evelyn wanted to participate in bedroom activities. But I told her I wasn't ready, Deku said. Okay. But that doesn't really need an apology, David said. That's only half of it. After I said no, Evelyn was a bit upset since. Anyways, I promised her that every time she wants to get physical with me, I'll make a note of it for later when I'm ready, and then we proceed with cuddles and kisses, Deku said. Are you sure that was a good idea, Jack asked. Nope. But I trust her not to abuse it too much. But by the time I'm ready, I expect there to be a lot of hours worth of it. Or maybe even a day, Deku said. Well. Thanks for the early apology at least. Just when you do. Please allow us time to get things from our room, Jack said. There is no way I could ever promise that with Evelyn, Deku said. All the time, how, David asked. All the time. Why, don't you want to? Especially after, Jack said. Well. Let's say that it's hard to resist her for more than one reason, David said. Hey. But look at me, acting all knowledgeable and stuff when I'm the one with the least experience on the team, Jack said. You never met anyone that interested you that way, Deku asked. Never looked for it, actually. Never was a priority. I met the headmaster when I was really young. And since then, I've been doing nothing but go on missions, train, and Jack said. Partner, is everything alright, David asked. Yes, I'm sorry. Just thinking of the past, you know, Jack asked. Jack. You know, if you want to talk about it. We're here, David said. You know, I think I will take you guys up on that, Jack said. Really, David asked. Really? If I could talk about it with Weisschnee, there's no reason why I can't share it with my partner. It's not a happy story, though. I've warned you, Jack said. Hey, if it's your story, it isn't over yet, David said. Deep. Alright, let's start asking around, Jack said. Over in another part of Vale, Howard and Bella were in the streets waiting. While they waited, Bella started to play with her lighter, flicking it on and off over and over, which irritated Howard very quickly. Will you stop that, already? Howard shouted. I'm bored, Bella said. I agree that waiting for the boss to finish negotiating a rental is boring, but you can't take it out on my nerves, Howard said. I want to see my big brother, Bella said. Oh gods, you're still going on about that. Look, I don't know how you got this crazy idea in your mind, but... First, he's not your big brother, Howard said. Yes, he is, Bella said. Second, meeting him would be a really bad idea, Howard said. For you, maybe. My big brother would never harm me, Bella said. For the love of... That's not what I care about. Problem is, we can't approach him without a plan to snatch him, Howard said. Plan? Who needs a plan? I'll just ask, Bella said. You'll what? Howard asked. I'll just ask my big brother nicely to come with us. Which is why it's very, very important that I go see him as soon as possible. Yes, it's very important for everyone, isn't it? Yes. I'm going to see him now, Bella said. No, you're not, Howard shouted. Yes, I am, Bella said. Bella then disappeared. That little... Bella, come back here this instant, Howard shouted. Howard then gave chase. I see. Thanks, David said, as he exited a rentals. Found anything? Deku asked. No, David said. Seems like Weza really is a ghost, Deku said. Yeah. Shall we try the clinic? Weza might have been, David said. He might have, but medical records are highly confidential. There's no way we'll get those records, Deku said. So where should we go now? David asked. Let's wait for Jack. She may have found something, Deku said. Okay, David said. Bella then slammed into the back of David. Whoa. Hey, David shouted. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bella said. Why do people keep body checking others in this goddamn city? David asked. David. Are you okay? Deku asked. Yeah. I'm fine, David said. I'm very, very sorry. I'm sorry, but I was trying to catch something the wind took from me, Bella said. I see. Still, pay more attention next time. You could have seriously hurt yourself, David said. You're right. I will be more careful, from now on. So, what's your name, big brother? Bella asked. Big what? Deku asked. Why did you call me big brother? David asked. Oh, right. Silly me, that doesn't translate well to Vale. In the archaic Mistrali language, you can refer to older people as big siblings in the way of a pronoun, Bella said. Oh. I see, David said. Well, I'm David, David said. I'm Izuku. What you name, young lady? Deku asked. I'm Bella. It's great to meet you too, big brothers, Bella said. It's nice to meet you, Bella, Deku said. I would have preferred a less painful first meeting, but... It's nice to meet you too, David said. Oh, big brother. You're just saying that. So, what are you doing, big brother? Something I can help with? Bella asked. Nothing much. I'm looking for someone and I ran into a wall, David said. Well, if big brother wants, I could take care of that wall for him. Make it go boom boom bye bye, Bella said. It's a figurative wall. Not a real wall that needs to be taken down, David said. So, I can't make it go boom? Bella asked. No, David said. Moo. I wanna make something go boom for big brothers, Bella said. I appreciate the thought, but that's not the kind of help I need right now. Right now, the skill set we could use belongs more, David said. The mint-haired girl from the club then walked past. That girl, David shouted. Ha! Big brother, what? Bella said. Hey, wait, David shouted, chasing after the girl. David. Don't go running off like that, Deku shouted, as he chased after David. Stupid big brother. Bella is still a growing girl, I will have a body like that too, soon enough. But I forgive you. It's good for big brother to have a healthy interest in girls. We're going to spend a lot of time together, after all. Right, Bella said. Was that David and Izuku? That was definitely their voices, but where did they go? I mean, they sounded more angry than in distress, but... Sorry. Little Miss Jack said. Bella said. Diuc two guy, one with blonde hair and a white or red jacket, the other with green hair and a green and red one-piece outfit. They should have been screaming their heads off a few seconds ago, Jack said. I did, Bella said. Oh. And where did they run off, Jack asked. That way. The blonde ran after some chocolate floozy with red eyes, and green guy followed, Bella said. Chocolate. The girl from the club. Thanks, you've been great help, Jack said. You're welcome. Say hi to big brothers for me, Bella said. Sure, I guess, Jack said. Bella and Jack then began to go their separate ways, but as they passed, Bella ignited her lighter, which caught Jack's interest. Wait a moment, Jack said. Bella said. Where did you get that lighter, Jack asked. The mint-haired girl was walking around Vale, looking a bit annoyed. Huff. Not a single good one, today. Either too poor or loaded, but so open to not even provide a decent challenge. How's a girl supposed to get better with targets like these? I guess I should go back to the school or the safe house. I've gotten bored of the girl said. Hey, wait, David said. What? You're that guy, the girl said. Finally caught up with you, David said. You here to perv up on me some more, you perv, the girl asked. Well, that's an underwhelming insult. Anyway, no, I wanted to apologize, David said. Seriously? You want to apologize to me, the girl asked. I did kind of fly off the handle back then, didn't I? You may have interrupted me and Neo, but you didn't really know about the whole situation. You thought I was hitting on her, no, David asked. You are weird, the girl said. Because I apologized for something I did, David asked. Yes. Who even are you, anyway, the girl asked. David. Don't run off like that, Deku said. Oh, right. You're right. Sorry, Deku, David said. So this is the girl who clocked you in the face, Deku said. Yeah. I was just about to introduce myself. My name is David Dik Begis, David said. And I'm Izuku Midoriya. We're both first years at Beacon, Deku said. Wait, a first year at Beacon, the girl asked. That's what I said, yeah, Deku said. You too? Wouldn't happen to know Ruby Rose and her friends, then Emerald asked. Oh, you know Ruby too? She made my weapon for me, actually, David said. I see. What a coincidence, the girl said. Crap, I fucked up. Someone from Beacon saw me with Neo. But how was I supposed to know that Little Pest and her teammates would meet her not even 2 hours later? No. Calm down, Emerald. You can still salvage this, Emerald thought. I'm a transfer student from Mistral, myself. My name is Emerald, Emerald said. Kinda on the nose, David said. Maybe a bit. Anyway, regarding Neo. Could I ask you not to mention the fact that I know her to anyone, Emerald asked. Sure, David said. You see, I wait. Just like that, Emerald asked. She's some kind of criminal, isn't she? And not just any criminal. I can understand why you wouldn't want anyone to know about your association with her, David said. We needed her help, so let's agree to keep this a secret, alright, Deku said. without even asking me why I'm associated with her, Emerald asked. Would you tell us, David asked. No, Emerald said. We wouldn't tell you either. Makes it even, no, David said. You two are still weird. But interesting. So whatever you're doing, you're hiding from the faculty, Emerald asked. Actually, it's because of the faculty that we were forced to ask Neo for help. Let's just say that the headmaster has been less than helpful with our team's problems, Deku said. Would you like help from someone more adjusted than Neo, Emerald asked. Excuse me, David said. Emerald then takes out her scroll and holds it out in front of her. Deku and David then pull out their own scrolls and exchange numbers with Emerald. If you two ever feel like sharing what your problems exactly are, contact me. I think we can help each other out, Emerald said. Exchanging favors, Deku asked. We're people who cannot go to the good guys to solve their problems. Not saying that we should stick together or anything, but Emerald said. We'll think about it, David said. Sounds good. If you ever want to meet up, I'm Emerald said. There was then an explosion, where they once were. What the, Emerald said. Deku then took off in the direction of the explosion. Sorry, Emerald. We've got to go, David said. What? Hey, Emerald said. Deku soon arrived at the scene. Holy. What the hell happened here, Deku asked. The street is almost unrecognizable, like something out of a hellish landscape. There's destroyed windows, trees and shrubbery on fire, and the door of a shop seems to have been blown off its hinges. On the other side of the street was not on fire, thought, it was covered with a clear sheen of solid ice covering everything that wasn't claimed by the flames. A tree lays frozen and shattered on the street. Jack. Jack. Partner, Deku called out. Why, Jack said. Jack. What happened here? Did you fight, Deku asked. Ijuku, Jack said. Jack then started to cry. She had it, Ijuku. But why, Jack said. She had what, partner, Deku asked. Why did that girl have my father's lighter, Jack asked. Deku then pulled Jack into a hug and let her cry on his chest, not asking about what happened. I thought you were supposed to pay for your sins after you died. Am I that bad a person that the universe decided to take a head start, Howard asked. I'm back, Bella said. Welcome back. What the hell did you do, Howard asked. It's not my fault. This crazy girl started rambling about my lighter and stuff, so I tried to explode her, Bella said. You tried? You mean she survived, Howard asked. Yes, Bella said. Bella. Tell me everything. From the top, Howard asked. Team JPDE had now returned to Beacon. Deku, Penny, David and Glinda were in the kitchen. Evelyn then entered the kitchen. How is she doing? Is she alright, Deku asked. What happened with Jack had put a stop to their investigating into Weather. And Jack has been in a state of shock since then. The police arrived soon after David had caught up. The police brought them in for questioning, but Jack remained silent. Thankfully Miss Goodwitch swung by and convinced the police to release them into her custody. She got out of it. She's putting on some fresh clothes, Evelyn said. Thank goodness. Did she say anything, Penny asked. Just that she needs to talk to us, Evelyn said. Hopefully she can shed some light on her attacker's identity, Glinda said. Jack then entered the kitchen. Hey. Sorry for worrying you all, Jack said. Nonsense, partner. We were just confused, David said. I bet you were. When I confronted that girl, last thing I expected was for her to turn violent and attack me, Jack said. As confusing as when she started calling me and Deku big brother out of the blue. I know. She said it was an old Mistrali way of addressing older men. But she seemed a bit too eager to talk to me, especially, David said. Maybe she's with the group that's after you, David. With Howard and Weza, Penny said. If she was, her behavior makes even less sense than Deku said. Especially considering how strong she was and how little she cared about attacking people in public, Jack said. Maybe she was trying to use psychological warfare, Evelyn said. Never heard of a kind of psychological warfare focused around calling people Big Brother. But Remnant's a big place, Glinda said. Well, it worked. But Jack, honestly. What happened with you, instead, David asked. To properly explain. I need to tell you about my past, Jack said. Jack, you sure, Evelyn asked. Jack, you don't have to force yourself right now, Deku said. Izuku, it's okay. If that girl is also in league with Howard and Weza, you all need to know about my relationship with her. Not even Evelyn knows the full story, Jack said. Would you like me to leave, Miss Ivory, Glinda asked. No. You also need to hear this, Miss Goodwitch. The Schnee Company became the biggest and only non-local dust trade business by acquiring or running the competition out of business. Ivory Dust Trade was one such company, Jack said. Was it a family business, Deku asked. Yes. It was founded by my father, in the spirit of Nicholas Schnee, Jack said. That's wise grandfather, Penny said. Yes. My father admired Nicholas for what he had done, what he accomplished for the people of Atlas, and wanted to do the same for the people of Vacuo, Jack said. Well, that's a big goal, Evelyn said. My mother used to tease him endlessly about wanting to become the second coming of Nicholas. But it wasn't something he really believed he could ever accomplish in his lifetime. But he also always said that just because something seems unattainable, that shouldn't stop you from trying. Because it's only through challenge and effort that you find how far you can go. My father only went as far as the Schnee allowed him. No, I'm sorry. That's unfair. It wasn't the Schnee family as a whole, it was Jack's Schnee, Jack said. What happened, Evelyn asked. 10 years ago. An assassin came into our house, Jack said. An assassin, Penny asked. A pretty cliched one, too. Saying stuff like Jack's Schnee sends his regards before kicking my father to death in front of my eyes, Jack said. Kicked to death, David asked. His name was Marcus Black. That was his style of combat, yes. Unfortunately, Marcus was found dead a few weeks ago. He's the only one who could have filled in my story, Jack said. What kind of holes, Deku asked. I tried helping my father. And got a kick to the gut for it, knocking me against a wall and then out cold. When I came to, I was in a hospital with my mother. Our house had burned down, and my mother had already agreed to the Schnee's newest offer for the company. And on the body of my father, they found no trace of his lucky lighter. He only ever took it off to sleep, Jack said. Couldn't it have burned up, David asked. It was made of a rare heat-resistant metal. Even after a fire, there should have been a trace of it, Jack said. So, did this guy take trophies from his victims, Evelyn asked. Not that I know of. That has always bothered me, and now I find it in the hands of an unknown girl. And there's something else, Jack said. What is it, partner, Deku asked. When I passed out, there were 5 people in the house, Jack said. You, your father, your mother. And the assassin only makes 4, David said. Yes. There was someone else in the house, someone whose charred body my mother couldn't even bring herself to see after the fire. My little sister, Jack said. Jack, are you saying, Deku said. I don't know, Izuku. When I last saw her, she was barely more than a toddler. I wish this was a movie, no, I could recognize her instantly. But this is why I wanted you to be here, Miss Goodwitch, Jack said. I wasn't personally involved in recruiting you, Miss Ivory, Glinda said. I know. That's not what I meant. And I know that it's very unlikely. Ozpin has done some questionable things for the greater good, but this would be too far even for him. But the possibility. If there's even the slightest chance that the headmaster may have hidden this from me, that one of the graves we filled that day has an empty coffin in it. Right now, I really don't want to risk being in the same room as him, Jack said. I see. If you'll excuse me, I think I'll go help with the cleanup in Vale then, Glinda said. Glinda then exited Team JPDE's dorm room. Oh lordy, oh gods, oh my. I can't believe this, Evelyn said. Hey, calm down, you all. As I said, it's just a hypothesis, Jack said. Jack, he must know at least something of what transpired. You unlocked your semblance that night, that's the whole reason why he came to you. Just like he came to me, Evelyn said. Yes, but my semblance had also gone out of control while I slept. This doesn't necessarily mean that the headmaster knows about what happened, Jack said. But it also doesn't mean he doesn't, Evelyn said. I'll play devil's advocate here. Or at least I think I am. What reason would he have to bluff your mother and hide something like this from you, David asked. Priorities. And resource management, Penny said. Penny, David said. The headmaster recruited both Evelyn and Jack because of their unique semblances. I don't know about Evelyn's circumstances, but if Jack had known about the possibility of her sighter being alive and in the hands of her father's assassin, Penny said. A revenge I could put on hold. The deal I made with the headmaster was that I would help him with his plans if he helped me find Marcus Black. I let him do it on his own terms, but you can bet your ass that if I had known about the possibility of my sister being alive, I would have involved myself, Jack said. And that wouldn't have been in the headmaster's plans for you, David said. Yes, but this is all conjecture. This doesn't help anyone and, honestly, I don't feel like asking the headmaster directly, Jack said. If he would even give a straight answer, Evelyn said. Yes. Whoever she is and however she got it, that girl Gas, my father's lighter, is interested in David and she may be in cahoots with Howard and Weza Van Gertie. Right now, our priority is to find her, and get some answers out of her. Whatever the truth is, that's the quickest way to it, Jack said. Home. Right on, boss, Evelyn said. We have a new goal, then Penny said. Seems so. Even though I'm gonna be used as bait, David said. Deku remained silent. Izuku, what's wrong? Do you disagree, Jack asked. I was just thinking about something, Deku said. What's on your mind, cutie, Evelyn asked. Regarding that night. There's a third explanation for what may have happened to your sister, Deku said. A third explanation, Jack asked. Yes. So far we've considered your sister may have died in the fire, or that Marcus Black may have taken her. But at this point, couldn't it also be possible a third party was involved with the fur and her disappearance, Deku said. Glinda had now finished helping with the cleanup in Vale. Thanks for your help, Miss Goodwitch, a Vale citizen said. Think nothing of it. Be safe, now. There are still shards of glass lying around, Glinda said. Then I guess your semblance doesn't do well with small objects. Interesting, a voice said. What, Glinda said. A woman with white hair, and wearing a black suit with a purple shirt then walked up to Glinda. Miss Lavender. Good evening, Glinda said. Miss Goodwixth. Any declarations, Lisa asked. Declarations from me, Glinda asked. Well, one of your students was involved in the incident. Was just wondering if you had, any official declarations for the press, Lisa said. They shall be given through the proper channels, as usual, Glinda said. So yes, another pre-compiled piece of drivel tells me nothing, I see. So I'm supposed to just accept everything you say at face value until the next time one of your students gets in a fight with terrorists at the docks. Or a meteor crash in the middle of the city and you decide to get involved for some reason. And what about that orange light in the sky a few days after, Lisa asked. We don't expect you to do anything but your job, Miss Lavender. As is expected of me, Glinda said. What does your job have to do with meteor? Was that crash special? Lisa asked. Good evening, Miss Lavender, Glinda said. Glinda then left. All right, then. Gave you your chance, Miss Goodwitch. Now that I'm off the air for the foreseeable future, I have a lot more time to beat the streets and follow up on leads myself. Starting with that old lady swearing up and down her neighborhood that she saw a person rise from the crater of the meteor crash. Then find out something about that orange light, Lisa said. End of chapter 16.